Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer, where we are going to fundamentally rethink resilience by exploring why some data matters more than infrastructure. If you're an executive, a CIO, a CISO, or a resilience leader, well, grab a notepad because this session is designed specifically for you. We've got 6 main topics on our agenda today. We'll start with the infrastructure illusion, move into value creation, then identifying critical data, the point of truth, shifting the resilience focus, and finally, the path to anti-fragility. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the infrastructure resilience illusion. Let's take a hard look at how organizations typically prepare for operational disruptions. You know the drill. When organizations prepare for resilience, what's the very first thing they usually do? They inventory their infrastructure. We're talking servers, applications, networks, cloud platforms, backups, the whole shebang. Now, measuring these highly visible elements feels logical, right? But it actually contains a massive structural limitation. It incorrectly assumes your infrastructure is your most critical asset. And as operational reality proves time and time again, that's just an illusion. So to really grasp the limitation of merely protecting servers and networks, we have to pause and ask a far more fundamental business question. What actually creates value in your organization? That brings us to section 2, how organizations create value. Let's redefine what actually drives your success. Let's be real for a second. Organizations do not generate value just by having shiny applications. They generate value through tangible business objects. We're talking about an order, a contract, an invoice, a customer record, a patient file, maybe a production order. Technology is merely the vessel. These objects are your actual cargo. And these business objects don't just sit there gathering dust. They move dynamically through your operations. They're transformed, they're validated, enriched, and ultimately approved. It is exactly this precise sequence of validations, executive trade-offs, and transformations applied to these objects that truly creates your business value. So a vital consequence emerges here. Not all data is created equal. Data supporting technical operations, that can be rebuilt or reinstalled relatively easily. But the data driving your value creation, that is completely unique. While tech can be reconstructed from scratch, the specific data representing your unique business value is completely irreplaceable. Moving on to section 3, identifying truly critical data. If not all data is equal, how do we pinpoint the exact information that actually matters? To solve this puzzle, the Ransom-Kick method provides a brilliant structured approach. Step 1, identify the business objects actively being transformed to create value. Step 2, identify the transformations performed on those exact objects. Step 3, pinpoint the required validations. And step 4, identify the exact information that proves those validations actually occurred. This framework brilliantly maps out what is happening on the operational floor, moving us away from abstract IT concepts and grounding us firmly in concrete business reality. And that 4th step leads us perfectly into section 4, the point of truth. This is perhaps the most pivotal concept in operational resilience. So, what is a point of truth? It is the information demonstrating that an event, a validation, or a decision actually took place. This is the absolute bedrock of your organization's governance. It's the undeniable proof you need to justify actions and make crucial executive decisions. Let's make this totally concrete. We are talking about electronic signatures, quality approvals, regulatory authorizations, financial validations, and proofs of delivery. Without these specific pieces of evidence, an organization simply cannot demonstrate compliance, it cannot proceed with operations, and it certainly cannot finalize value creation. When these points of truth disappear, the impact is literally catastrophic. You aren't just facing an annoying IT outage, you are losing your fundamental capability to operate as a business. You lose the ability to produce, to invoice, to deliver, and to demonstrate compliance to regulators. You essentially lose the very engine of your organization. This brings us to section 5, shifting the resilience focus. Recognizing this catastrophic loss requires a total paradigm shift in how executives govern resilience. This comparison right here completely encapsulates why data matters so much more than infrastructure. A server or a virtual machine, you can replace or rebuild that. But points of truth are extremely difficult and sometimes completely impossible to reconstruct. Think about it. You can buy a new server tomorrow. You cannot easily buy back a lost financial validation from 6 months ago. As strategic leaders,
This operational reality demands a fundamental change in your line of questioning. You have got to stop asking your teams, which systems should we restore, and instead focus relentlessly on this one specific question. Which data allows the organization to continue creating value?
This conceptual shift moves your center of gravity entirely. It shifts away from infrastructure in phase 1, up to the data in phase 2, up to the business objects in phase 3, anchoring it firmly ultimately in phase 4, value creation. Here is the core message you need to take away. Resilience is no longer about the protection of technologies. Resilience is the capacity to preserve, rebuild, and improve the capacity of an organization to create value despite disruptions. Finally, we reach Section 6, the path to antifragility. Let's explore how this value-centric logic structures the ultimate maturity journey for your organization. The Ransom-Kick Resilience Model mandates a very clear progression. It starts with Phase 1, defining and creating value. Then, Phase 2, maintaining that value through shocks and assuring actual continuity. And critically, Phase 3, knowing exactly how to reconstruct that value when continuity is inevitably broken. From rebuilding, organizations enter advanced maturity. They learn to make executive decisions under severe constraints. Then, they learn to demonstrate those capabilities to stakeholders, and eventually certify those capabilities. This whole journey culminates in antifragility. This means the organization doesn't just survive the shock, it actually grows stronger, smarter, and more capable after every single disruption. To master this framework and build true antifragility, please consult the resources shown here. Read the Assuring Resilience book series, watch the Archaean Group YouTube channel, listen to the French podcast Conversations Resilience Ransom-Kick, or the English podcast Ransom-Kick Resilience Talks. You can also visit www.ransomkick.com and www.arcanfisti.app. All of these incredible resources were developed by Fabian Palasoidis, founder of Ransom-Kick, designer of the Ransom-Kick Resilience Model, and author of the Assuring Resilience book series. Thank you for joining this explainer. I'll leave you with one final provocative question to ask your board. When the next major disruption hits, will your teams be busy restoring cables, or will they be rescuing your organization's undeniable ability to create value?